All right, we're back with our league challenge. I almost said premier challenge as well here.
I would have said premier challenge.
And we got two of SoCal's best, Brian Collins and Giovanni Costa. Brian, those who know him well, non-surprisingly, he's playing Side Spam. But with an interesting Pokemon we'll get to when we get into team preview right here. That is a tree with eggs on it. That's a tree with eggs on it.
So go through the teams. Gio's got the Dragonite, his guy, the Dragonite, Garchomp, Amoonguss, Incineroar, Whimsicott, and Golden Go. Brian with the Hatterene and DD Female, Ursaluna, Torkoal, Gallade, and the Exeggutor. Tell me about the Exeggutor.
Exeggutor is slow. It also can be fast because it has Chlorophyll, just like Lilligant. Has Sleep Powder, and it can set its own Trick Room. And it has Expanding.
Yeah.
It's actually kind of interesting. Like genuinely, right? Because it's fast now.
Exeggutor is a big ball of weird traits because you can either go slow mode with Trick Room and the Psychic Terrain, or you can go fast mode with the Sun and then also the Psychic Terrain. There's a lot of different things that you can do here. Torkoal is going to not get swapped out because it's the Choice Specs variant, does not have that Eject Pack. Garchomp's going to Protect. We'll see what the option is here.
Goes in. Yep.
It's going to be the Sleep Powder there. We'll see what the Torkoal wants to go for. It did go for the Eruption, so it'll get a bit of damage down onto this Incineroar here.
Honestly, this probably does a lot because it's like specs. Okay,
yeah.
That relatively for Incineroar, that is actually quite a bit.
And keep in mind, Gio plays Assault Vest Incineroar.
That's actually quite a lot.
Amount of damage.
If you think about it like that, that's quite a lot.
It is an obscene amount of damage.
And Torkoal doesn't switch out here. Garchomp goes to sleep due to the Chlorophyll here. Let's see what Incineroar does. Goes for the knockoff. Torkoal takes a lot of damage, but it knocks off the Choice Spec, so he can switch moves now. While this isn't doing much, he could actually go for like an Earth Power now.
Yeah, you can swap up your moves. Yeah, it's Earth Power, Heat Wave, Weather Ball, and then that Eruption.
Yeah, so he can go for the Earth Power into that Incineroar.
Even still, the Exeggutor just keeps laying down these Sleep Powders. That's 2 landed Sleep Powders here.
Earth Power is probably coming out now into the Incineroar. See how much it does.
Could alternatively go for something, I guess, into the Garchomp. I feel like the Garchomp's a bigger threat, but getting rid of the Incineroar is not a terrible idea. It's going to be Heat Wave.
Just good chip all around. And that's fine, right? Like, I don't think Brian needs to go for that big damage right now, right? Just kind of like getting the chip out. And honestly,
I think it's better
could probably do something now, right?
Yeah, exactly. I think the Exeggutor can probably knock out the Garchomp with the
Energy Ball.
Energy Ball, exactly. Exeggutor is going to Terra. It's the Terra Psychic.
Oh, might just go for raw Expanding Force.
That's also certainly an option.
Yeah.
Just boost that damage as much as possible.
Just go right into the Garchomp here. Expanding, yup, that's exactly what that Terra telegraphed. And this is probably going down.
I get the funny rectangle.
Yep, and the funny rectangle. I like that one. And then Incineroar's asleep, and probably an Earth Power going into here, and probably picks up. We'll see. Oh, barely picks up. Torkoal, not the highest special attack, unfortunately, and the specs was knocked off.
Yeah.
So,
although it still means that this Incineroar is on extremely low HP, and certainly might have to watch out for just a Heat Wave. Like, Torkoal might be able to do something
it could
a lot
definitely
less
get both in a Heat Wave,
aggressive.
Sure. This Goldango might not be long for this world. Actually, no. It does. I believe it has a defensive Terra.
Golden goes Terra Steel.
Oh,
Gio goes with that Terra Steel Choice Spec. Does a ton of damage.
Yeah, so
it might pick up a double knockout here, which it would be a concern for Brian if that does happen.
I don't think it will. Also, you just switched out Torkoal here. Surprisingly, Exeggutor special defense is like not that bad.
Ooh. Yeah, sure isn't.
DD coming in, and now this is an expanding
This would be a really big deal, yeah.
This is a big expanding force coming out because it's faster. And
we are going to get that Terra. Not going to mean too much immediately.
Yeah, but Spectacle Dingo, like if you know anything about, like, since Spectacle Dingo is a lot frailer, if you know anything about this expanding force stuff, it's gonna do a lot. Oh, actually, this goes for the energy ball. Very interesting. I really wanted to take out that Incineroar. Breaking Rain coming out, and this is gonna do a lot. Oh, nearly one-shotting both.
Yeah, Exeggutor had the Focus Sash to take it, but Indeedee, that was just barely took it at that range. I guess the good thing, ooh, that's a problem.
But actually, you can just swap in Torkoal next turn.
Yeah, you can't just swap in Torkoal out of Indeedee and go for an expanding force. That is correct. I did not think about the play enough, but I think that is exactly the play.
Yeah.
And I think that should basically end the game.
It should. Yeah, it should. Yeah. Sure. The Dragonite is not Assault Vest.
Dragonite will get lit up by that. No multi-scale, no Assault Vest, no nothing.
Yeah, but the Goldingo is kind of like, it is locked into Make It Rain, so like even the stuff in the back will be able to take it because you just need to get rid of this Dragonite.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah. You just got to get rid of the Dragonite. Let the Goldengo keep dropping its own stats, and even then, there's another Pokemon in the back we don't know what it is. I believe for Brian. See that Expanding Force? It'll also be useful for us to find out how much of this does for the rest of this battle. It doesn't actually take out the Dragonite. Wow.
Okay, so that's actually very crucial to know for Brian's end, right? This Torkoal just swapped in. I believe we haven't seen Brian's fourth.
We have not, but this is suddenly a real problem for Brian, because even with, like,
and
even on Pokemon...
Spinner. I mean,
it is the Ice Spinner.
It doesn't really matter too much.
It doesn't matter too much because a critical hit, that actually genuinely might have mattered.
Because Torkoal's pretty bulky.
Torkoal's pretty bulky. It's got pretty good physical bulk. Psychic Terrain will go away, but Indeedee will swap back in. The problem here is that, and it is the Hatterene is the last Pokemon here. The problem... Oh, this is going to be close.
If it's a crit, I think this Hatterene can win. But other than that, I think this Hatterene could win.
It's going to be pretty close.
I think it's the Trick Room.
Yeah. No, I don't think you can Trick Room. Oh.
Wait.
Huh. That, who decided out of that one? I guess, Brian didn't want... I love their trainer cards. Both their trainer cards are, like, my favorite ones that I see here. I'm trying to play that out in my head because...
Maybe Specs Make It Rain is still too much.
Specs Make It Rain is a lot, especially Specs Terra Steel Make It Rain, like, even at -2 is still, like, a basic... Geo. Yeah. But...
Oh, maybe Incineroar was in the back, I think so.
Incineroar was still in the back.
So you could reset those Terra Steel. Make It Rain. I think that's what Brian probably...
I guess, but at the same time, like, if you switch out that and you switch in the Incineroar...
It probably faints to Gleam.
They both drop to Dazzling Gleam, and Indeedee is still up.
But then they can't do anything back to...
I guess they can't do anything, and Hatterene is too slow.
Yeah.
I guess that probably is how that ends up.
You'd have to be... Like, even if you get Trick Room up, it's like a little tough. No, I can understand why Brian forfeited. That was
it's the mark of two top players who play against each other a lot, where they're like, we basically know where this is going, and we're not gonna like, we're not gonna just play it out to play it out. I like their trainer cards so much. I like the 2 Smeargles. I like the big Dragonite head. I like them so much.
Exeggutor and Indeedee this time going for a size expanding force mode into mons that take expanding force very well.
Yeah, that's the problem for Brian in this matchup, is having to deal with those two because they're the most obvious pull-ins. Especially because Exeggutor, not unlike a lot of other size spam mons, but it can't do anything to Incineroar. Expanding Force does literally nothing, and Energy Ball does figuratively nothing.
It's kind of like Armor Rouge in that sense, where it can't really do much to more.
Exactly. The Indeedee is going to go for the Terra. It's Terra Water Indeedee.
So I think, actually...
And no switches.
Because of that Terra, I think that might be ongoing. Oh no, never mind.
I think just trying to eat whatever damage possible here.
Yeah, so crucially the Goldengo doesn't Terra, so yeah, Victor loves that either way.
Still brings it down to Sash. That's so much damage.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes sense, but, like, man, that thing does damage.
The knockoff coming out, indeed he lives.
Yeah.
Rocky Helmet damage, just for a little bit.
Ow!
Yeah.
I hit the Rocky Helmet. So the Trick Room does get up. So the question now for Brian is, to what degree can you take advantage of this Trick Room that's now an option for you? So, one, is the Executor slower than the Incineroar? It is. No, it's not. The Incineroar is slower.
Yeah. No. Depending
looking at their team sheets. I, not to spoil it for the audience, but I can see their team sheets. I know which one's slower.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's a problem, because you don't really have a way to deal with that other than, I guess, just follow me, which will get your Indeedee knocked out. Dragonite's going to come in here, and that's a problem as well, as Dragonite has this is like the best matchup for Psy Spam.
Yeah.
Maybe there's a reason why Geo brings his team to this local where we're known for Psy Spam. Because you have Incineroar, which blocks it, plus the Assault Vest. Yeah. You have a Golden Go, which does great into a lot of these matchups. And you have, that is brutal. And then you have Ice Spinner on Dragonite as well, which I guess the only option here is going to be Helping Hand, Expanding Force.
Yeah, and just hope.
Yeah, and hope. Although, honestly, I think Helping Hand, Expanding Force knocks out Dragonite.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So that should be... At the very least, you can keep your Psychic Terrain up a couple more turns. Which could be the difference maker in this game if Hatterene's on the back.
Oh, no.
And Dragonite takes it. 15 HP remaining, and that's probably going to be it.
Yeah.
Psychic Terrain's out of the way. It depends on what's in the back exactly. Okay, so if what's in the back is like Torkoal and
Delayed
Ursaluna, then it's totally fine. This doesn't matter at all.
If it's Torkoal Gallade, I think that's what you're doing here.
I think that's probably the best option, but anything other than Hatterene is perfectly fine, frankly. So it's not that big a deal that Psychic Terrain went down. It is really unfortunate, though, because now you are still, and it is the Ursaluna, and it is the Torkoal. The problem is that Dragonite, Dragonite's locked into Ice Spinner, so it's not a big deal, but Dragonite can switch out and switch back in and get extreme speeds off and stuff.
Yeah, I believe there's like 2 turns left to Trick Room, so it's still real.
Yeah. And Incineroar is also going to be able to switch in and lower that Ursaluna's attack. Yeah. Is really brutal. Although we'll see if Brian can see what this play is and play around it.
I mean, maybe like,
And there's not really a way to do that. I wasn't sure if the Ursaluna had Swords Dance. It does not. And without that, I don't know how it's going to manage. Because here's the 2 that work really well into the Torkoal that we saw from before. The Incineroar and the Garchomp.
Just in case. Yeah. Headlong Rush. This might KO? Yeah. Okay, so this is like all of a sudden kind of doable, right? You're not going to get all the attack drops. But the thing is now is that...
we got to counter Trick Room turns, because I'm not sure how much of that we have.
I'm pretty sure that's like 1 turn. I was counting correct. If not, maybe Geo checks and we'll see it.
The problem is that I think that line exactly is taken up by Brian's face cam and everything. Yeah.
Is it 1 more?
We couldn't see it behind Brian's face cam.
No.
I think it's 1 more turn.
Yeah.
But in any case...
Yeah, Garchomp just kind of protects here. Dragonite can't, but whatever.
Dragonite can just go for big extreme speed. Yeah. Like, no reason not to. This isn't a terrible spot for Brian, though.
Yeah, it's not
good.
yeah, for sure. Torkoal can take some punishment, actually. You might need multiple
That's
hits.
the thing, and that's the thing about these Trick Room mons, is that they do a ton of damage.
And they're pretty bulky.
But they're bulky, and that's the thing, is that they get to be bulky because they do so much damage. And Dragonite didn't actually go for the extreme speed. So it's instead
no, because it's banded, right? It's locked.
Yeah, and Garchomp didn't even go for the protect. Garchomp's just going to drop.
Yeah, so I think...
And so that'll just be the Golden Go left. And I think it comes down to whether Golden Go... Because Geo has not used Terra yet. So it's just going to come down to whether...
And he kind of has to make it rain
Choice specs make it rain, Golden Go...
Because if he Shadow Balls, it just...
Picks up a double KO.
Yeah.
This game, and if Geo gets it, this series comes down to does choice specs... well, never mind. I guess Geo doesn't care. I guess we're going to game 3.
yeah.
Because the Shadow Ball is not going to knock
even
out.
KO.
It comes pretty close.
My God.
Maybe it was Geo wanting to test if that picked up a KO, knowing that the specs Tierra Steel Make It Rain wouldn't have gotten it done. But I would have liked to see it, because I think it's probably closer than I might have thought. But in any case, we're going to game 3.
Yep, game 3. I think it's our first game 3 on stream today.
I think it is.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of game like 2-0s.
Yeah, pretty dominant 2-0s at that one.
Yeah. Well, I think there's some of that, and I think some of it is like the format is just good for 2-0s. Yeah. I don't know how to describe it really, but...
Yeah. I mean, maybe it's just like... Maybe it just happened to be like, oh, these are a lot of like, polarizing matchups.
I agree. I think that's the big thing, is that there are so many, there are a lot of different team archetypes and a lot of different good team archetypes, but a lot of them have very polarizing matchups where it can swing pretty far in one direction in certain ways. Geo wasting no time getting the lock-in.
He knows what he wants to bring.
And I think it's the same 4 again. I don't know if it's the same order, but it's the same 4 again, which I don't necessarily think... I don't think bringing in a Moongus or Whimsicott into this matchup would do anything at all. So I think this is probably the best.
Synthesize spam is unless you're really prepared for it, it's...
Unless you're Terra Dark Moongus.
Yeah.
Which,
I mean, some people have done here before. So.
Yeah, I mean, it's been good for different reasons at different times, but it's not really worth doing in this metagame, and it's not what Geo has. Geo has Terra Water.
So, let's see what Brian switches it up here with. Because he could go for the fast mode again, or he could go for the slow mode again. And that's actually the beauty of Executor, right? Maybe it's so fast that so slow.
Yeah.
Which is interesting, right? It's almost like and I guess that's why they're not using Lilligan over that, right? Because Lilligan cannot function.
Lilligan only really functions in Sun, but
as a fast mon.
Yeah, Executor functions, and it's not even as a fast mon or a slow mon, but it functions in Sun and in Psychic Terrain, which is so nice to be able to do the multiple things at once. We're gonna see the Torkoal Executor, the same lead as Game 1 for Brian. I think it's the same leads as Game 1 for both sides.
Oh, he's just going for straight up Earthquake, and
Executor goes for the Sleep Powder and misses it, and that might actually just be the entire series right there. The Earthquake goes into both of Brian's Pokemon. Torkoal takes some real big damage out of that. Executor takes a little chunk, but Executor is about to get hit pretty hard with that Ice Spinner.
Voice Band Ice Spinner, that's going to take it out.
That's absolutely going to take out the Executor. Despite how much work it got done in those first 2 games, it's already out of here for game number 3.
Yeah,
Torkoal gets the Eruption off, but that's a very small eruption.
Yeah.
I think that's probably around 50 base power, maybe less.
Yeah, actually, what I actually thought would be maybe switching in the Indeedee on in that Torkoal slot, just going for Terra Psychic Expanding Force, because even if Incineroar switches in, whatever's next to it's taking a lot of damage.
Yeah, the only thing that totally beats it is just a hard double switch. Yeah, and even that wouldn't be
into Incin Golden Go.
Yeah, into Incin Golden Go,
which
and even that
wouldn't
be even that wouldn't be a perfect outcome. But even still, it's feeling like this is probably it for the series.
Yeah.
With how that first turn went, we'll see if Brian is able to pull it back. But now we get to switch into the Incineroar Golden Go, as we mentioned.
Yeah, and
the Torkoal swaps out.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of mind games going on there, unfortunately.
Ooh, and it's a Gallade as the last Pokemon.
Okay, so this is actually very interesting now, because it can get faked out. It has Wide Guard, so if this is like a make it raid or something that blocks it. So the thing is Geo has to pick them, right? So if it goes into...
And the problem is for Geo the problem is for Brian that he just terrestrialized his Indeedee. Obviously, there are a lot of benefits to doing that, but it also means that you are no longer immune to that Shadow Ball. Indeed, is just going to go for Follow Me, and I think even past that, you don't want to use your Wide Guard because you don't have damage, and so you just need to go for...
going into Incineroar, one-shotting it cleanly with sharpness and stab boost.
Huge damage there, absolutely ginormous damage. Problem here is the Make It Rain comes through,
and Gallade survives!
Gallade takes that.
Gallade actually does have a good special defense stat, so, I mean... Yeah,
I don't think there's a chance, but there's kind of a chance. If this Gallade can do a ton of damage with Psycho Cut and Dragonite.
Yeah, so the Ice Spinner coming out, Garchomp switching in for
and
whatever
the
did.
You know what Golden Go is locked into.
Yeah, so he doesn't want to make it rain again, obviously. So has to switch that out. Maybe Brian reads into it.
Yeah, I don't know if Gio's horribly upset flicking the Make It Rain again, but he's certainly switching out of it now. Garchomp coming in. Can this Gallade do enough damage? I think you want the helping hand here after the Psycho Cut. No, just going for it. And doesn't get enough damage to do it, so the Psychic follows up.
Yeah.
And the Psychic gets the KO.
Yeah, he was super aware that the Goldingo had to switch out, so just doubled into Dragonite, knowing it cannot do anything. And Goldingo coming out. Goldingo still posing a big threat.
Yeah, now we're into... Yeah, and I think Gio feels good to just lock into Shadow Ball at this point, knowing that whatever I do, there's not a chance that... Oh, the Psycho Cut only brings it down to 1 HP, but the Psychic follows up again. The double up again.
This is a Shadow Ball.
And now we're down to just Golden Go. We wrote off this game, but this Gallade is actually putting in a ton of work. The Shadow Ball's probably going to take out the Indeedee. Yes, it does.
It has the Torkoal in the back. So,
Torkoal's in the back. I don't know how much Trick Room we have left.
I think it's one more turn.
If it's even one more turn, there's a Harsh Sunlight. I think that's Trick Room as well.
Yeah,
no?
So here's
one more
the
turn
issue.
of Trick Room.
So this comes down to a Heat Wave hit.
I think it does.
Actually, no. I mean, does he go for Specs Earth Power here? I don't think that.
I mean, the problem is it comes down to not just a Heat Wave hit, but also Psycho Cut.
Oh, no, Weather Ball.
Yeah, and Weather Ball is also around.
That actually just takes
able to pick up the knockout. Yeah. Yes, it does. Brian Collins, a crazy Game 3 comeback to pick that one up.
It looked so bad at the beginning after he missed that.
So bad after the missed Sleep Powder. And Exeggutor getting absolutely dumped. And Torkoal doing absolutely nothing turn 1. Like, it felt like the worst turn 1 ever. And Brian just turning that entire thing around with that Gallade.
Yeah, it was very nice that he went for the Trick Room early on. Right? To get that off.
Yeah, exactly. And just saying, okay, I know generally how I need to get out of this, and it needs to be Gallade hitting everything. And I think we kind of write it off, because Gallade is like, oh, it sets Trick Room, and it has Wide Guard, and it's kind of a nice physical attacker to have around for, like, Psy-Spam teams. We forget that it does... like, just a ton of damage.
Yeah, sharpness boosted,
boosts damage
boosted,
by so much. And Psycho Cut is also boosted by the Psychic Terrain.
Yeah.
Like, there are so many boosting effects on Gallade, and we forget how much that just ends up doing at the end of the day. Because it dumped a lot of, like, 600 base stat total, like, monsters in that game.
And if you want to know, like, a comparison, sharpness boosts the same... boosts base power the same way Technician.
Yeah.
So like whatever the Technician multiplier is also the sharpness.
And it's for moves with like 80-90 base power instead of like 40 to 60.
Yeah, exactly, right? So that's crazy. Like what Sacred Sword's 90, I think?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the Psycho Cut's 80. So like it's crazy.
It's crazy. In any case, we're gonna take a minute to tabulate the results, and we will be right back here.
Top Cut.
For top 8, don't go anywhere.